Good morning and happy Thursday. So, we have, this will be part 4. We have talked about, and do you know your opponent? We've talked about understanding who you're fighting against, principalities, you're fighting against demons, and the ruler of this world, Satan. So, next we talked about trauma as being the number one way that Satan gets a foothold in your life, followed by unforgiveness is number 2. And that is another big way that Satan gets a foothold in your life. And now today we're going to talk about the one that nobody wants to talk about, and that is sex outside of marriage. So, if you go and you look back in the Bible, you don't hear of, Joseph went to Zales and bought Mary a ring, and then they had a wedding, and that's when they became married. No. Every time you read in the Bible about a man like Abraham taking Sarah, or anyone else in the Bible who took a wife, you always hear that they picked the wife and they sealed the deal through sex. In God's eyes, when you and a man or a man and a woman come together through sex, you are sealing the covenant of marriage. So every time you have sex outside of marriage, you're breaking a covenant that doesn't even belong to you, because you're not married to that person, first of all. But also, what people don't understand is that marriage is not just a physical expression of your love and dedication and commitment to each other. It is a spiritual covenant that you are making between you, your husband, and God. So when you are outside of marriage, you are violating his laws, first of all. And you're violating the laws that God has set before us for marriage. But not even that, you literally are binding yourself to people. You see, even in the Bible it says the two become one. You literally become one because your DNA mixes. And you are transferring through each other emotions, but not just emotions. On a spiritual level, if you battle with addiction and anger and resentment, and you bind yourself to someone who might be dealing with depression and anxiety and bitterness, once you two connect on a spiritual level through sex, you now can pass on these strongholds and the demonic oppression that you two battle with. So imagine, every time you sleep with someone, there's a chance that you can get whatever demonic oppression, whatever demons attached to them in your life. Have you ever wondered, why you almost see women and men who are almost like they are have like mental health issues, but like they don't really have mental health issues, but it's like you just notice like they constantly have issues after issue after issue. A lot of times it's because after sleeping around with so many people over and over, and different people, you end up taking on those demonic oppression, those demons. And so you can meet a person and they seem so sane and stuff, and all of a sudden you start dating them, and all of a sudden you notice they're like cray cray. And that's because the more people you sleep with, the more crap you are literally applying onto yourself. And I'm saying this from experience because I was in the world most of my entire life. It's common. You have a boyfriend, you break up, eventually you get a new boyfriend, eventually you sleep with him. A couple of years later, you might break up, next thing, or you might be running around just sleeping around with people. But every time you're doing that, you are compounding on yourself more demonic oppression, more strongholds. And some of these strongholds you never had before, all of a sudden you do. All of a sudden you have a drinking problem. Why?